United fan, what's there not to be happy about and pleased about this evening? So look, get into the chat, and we will discuss obviously all the important stuff. As well. So the first thing to say is I get into this amazing community. This is the best community on this platform. Hands down, I'm very, very fortunate to basically have you guys on here. That be respectful, get into the community tonight. Be respectful. Be respectful to the community. Be respectful to the moderators. Be respectful to yourselves and be respectful to me. Otherwise, the ban hammer comes out. We don't like using the ban hammer, but we will, and it will come out. The second thing that says, look, I am not a dictator of this chat. So, God, my throat. So, I do read out the messages. This is why this show takes long. I do read them all out. If they're rude, obviously, I'm never going to read those out. So just be careful about the things you say, because I do see them. This is literally not just a channel whereby I do see the chats. So look, where do we begin? Where do we begin? Look, I've got to give you guys props tonight. Many of you look already. Sky is in the chat. Scott is in the chat as well. AFTV is full of cries now, and I saw the Ballon d'Orgu as well. So look, first thing to say really is, I wish I had some of your faith. I don't know whether it's faith. I'm not going to get into it tonight. I still have a view and an opinion on this team. That over time, the more games that we win, will it change? Possibly, but tonight is not about that. Tonight is about you guys. Tonight is about your show and the things you want to talk about. If we get dragged down a cul-de-sac of you guys have an opinion of the team and you ask me a question, this is your show. I want you to pretty much have your discussions tonight. Hi Sky, I hope you are doing extremely well. So look, I'm not going to bring down the mood tonight. I don't think we should. I don't think it's fair. I think we have to enjoy these wins. Look, I've still got my problems. I still got my comments to make. But like tonight is about this win. I would appreciate look, if you're an Arsenal fan tonight, I would love to get your opinion on the game tonight. Look, and I don't revel. Some of us do. I don't revel in other teams getting beat, right? And I know a lot of you guys on here do. I did take a little bit of joy today. Hi everybody, and Nikarutsu is in the house, absolute legend. Thank you, my friend. Look, I don't normally revel in certain things. I don't agree with it, because I think that over the years, over the last 13 years, I think that being that sort of person, I think comes back to bite you on the arse. Now, what I am going to do though is I am going to revel in it tonight. And this is not just about don't greet me as nicely as JB. You are a legend. DPK, oh, he's back in the house. You're happy now, you sad old plastic fan. Look, DBK, don't ban him just yet. Don't just ban him just yet. Don't just ban him just yet. I'm happy, and DBK, this is where, and look, I'm gonna answer him back. So just don't ban him just yet, because I'm gonna educate him or her, because they're clearly just bitter. As I said at the top of the show, right? I am still not happy with this team. I'm not happy with this coach, right? I'm not happy, and look, no one ban him just yet, because he's just, look, it's really easy. Get everything out. Get all of your venom out. You can call me old. You can call me C-U-N-T, get it out. It doesn't detract from the fact that you're bitter. It doesn't detract from the fact that I don't care. I literally don't care. You've clearly got some sort of issue that you are projecting it on me. And look, you look. I will always say this, DPK. I will always DPK. I will always say this. Always, 100%. Right. I have a respect for match going fans. Match going fans are the ones that go to every single game through rain, through sun, through shine. Go to away games, but that doesn't make you a better fan than me. It doesn't make you a better fan than somebody who's been supporting this club since yesterday, right? I don't know how old you are, right? I'm not begging for money. So that is where you're wrong as well, is I don't beg for money. I've got a very, very well paid job. So I'm not doing this for money. I've been supporting this club since 1988. So, yeah. And I'm 43. So hang on a minute. You're 37 and I'm 42 and you're calling me an old cunt. I mean, look, I'm 42. I've been supporting this club longer than you fucking moron. So you're telling me that you're 37. I've been supporting this club for longer than you. So even though you're entitled, I've been supporting this club for longer than you. In fact, DBK, I'd call you a glory hunter. So you're coming at me, calling me an old cunt. You're telling me that I'm getting hysterical. I'm extremely calm. But you've come on here and called, yeah, but DBK, mate. But you're a glory hunter, mate, because I've been supporting this club. I've been supporting this club, mate, since before you. I've been supporting this club before the Premier League fucking started. You don't know how many. It doesn't matter. Why does that matter? Why does it matter? I knew this club existed before you. So you're making yourself look like a little bit of a prick, to be fair. So you're a Salford lad, so that entitles you to what? Absolutely. So you've just exposed yourself in being a fucking idiot. You've just exposed yourself for being a toxic idiot who is how you're having a pop at somebody who basically remembers football from before Sky, who used to watch football when it was free, who supported this club before the things were won. I remember all of it, and you're having a pop at me, mate. You're absolutely dumb as shit. Absolute fucking what? And guess what? The beauty of this is I can call you a cunt. I can say you're an absolute fucking idiot. And you know what? I could say something. I'm going to be outside of the ground on Sunday. So if you want to come and say this to my face, feel free. So, so I'm going to be there. So feel free. I'm going to be there. Come up to me, and we can have this conversation. And I guarantee you're not going to like what you fucking find, because I'm nice and mate. The only thing you're going to chin is yourself. So please come and find me. Please, I beg you, because you're not going to like what you find. I promise you. Fucking moron. Anyway. No, DPK, mate, I promise you. Come and find me. You won't, because you're a little fucking mug shit. So piss off. Absolute fucking moron. Dealt with. back on with the show, because you get fucking idiots. Here we go. So look, let's get back on to the show. You're gonna get haters. Haters are gonna hate. I really couldn't give a fuck, to be honest. Let's have a look. So Sally says, we've earned the right for players to prove themselves. Great start for Carrick, but again, they have to gain trust past these results. Joachim says, Amrin was truly overrated. Carrick's 2 games were superior than Amrin's career. Amrin was stubborn and he lacked tactical. Look, look. You know, look, you guys can debate that. You know, I'm not going to get into the Amarin debate tonight. Like, this is your show. You guys can get into all that stuff. You know, look, you guys can debate that out. I'm, you know, look, whether he is, that's a tomorrow chat. But you know, look, I do respect the opinion. Let's have a little look. Exactly, absolute waster. I never get. This is what I don't get. Right, I don't get somebody who tells me they're from Manchester is supposed to scare me. Like, I'm from a council estate in Wales. Like, if you want to get rough as fuck and, you know, absolutely you know, fucking awful, Salford is like a fucking theme park. So, you know, I'm not bothered. It's just unreal. What block do you go in? Prisoner cell block H. Philip, what does that matter, mate? I don't really get this tonight. Do you know what's really funny tonight, right? Which makes me laugh tonight is that you're talking about an Arsenal. Right? We're talking about a win, right? And when I come on here, I've supported this club for 38 years. I big up the match going fans. Now, I've been through the Grimsby game on here. We've spoken about the Grimsby game. You know, I've watched every pre-season game. You know, I've gone through every single game. I've only probably missed 1 or 2 games doing it on here. I've watched every single game. And then we beat an Arsenal, right? And then suddenly, this evening, it's almost like because we've won, instead of fans getting together, there's fans now attacking the channel and attacking me because I don't physically go to the matches. You know, what is this? You know, like I don't really get what the and look, this is why we fail. This is why we fail, because there seems to be this rhetoric of when we win and we do things, is that you're not a real fan because we won. Like that idiot who goes to games but he's 37. I've been supporting this club longer than him, and I just don't get it. 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 Paul, Swansea Villa, I hope you're doing extremely well, friend. Well done today. You've put Villa back in the race. Great game, by the way. Look, it was a fantastic game. Look, we've put Villa. Well, I haven't. Villa, you know, look, Villa have put themselves back in the race. I thought Villa, that result was fantastic. So look, big up to Villa. Look, Villa put themselves back in a title race because they won their game. So, you know, look, the result today was good, but look, Villa put themselves back into a title race. Um, tell DPK what block you're going so he can find you, mate. Seriously, honestly, it's hilarious. It's honestly, honestly, it makes me laugh. It just ridiculous. It is just ridiculous. Honestly, absolute. I don't get it. Well, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Go United. DP is actually my cousin. He's hard, proper Salford lad. JB is my G though. I'll talk to DPK. Always happy when we beat Arsenal, but I still dislike our players. Nobody is scared of postcodes anymore. Honestly. Yeah, I got it right. 2-3 for United. Red card. It didn't happen though. Watching 7-3 likes smash the like lads. I don't think the protest will happen. Look, it is. Look, I'm going to check it out because look, the protests need to happen. I was saying to you go in and you still won't turn up. Look, I am not triggered at all. I really couldn't care less. I really couldn't care less. I hope Cunha doesn't get a match ban for swearing. Great channel from Villafant. Cheers, Paul. Not everyone can go to games. I know. Look, people are just you know. So look, DBK sound. He's my cousin. He's just streaming. His head's gone. Came to vodka after the win. Well, look, niche fan, mate. He needs to. I don't. Niche fan, look. You know, I don't see the point in coming on here and attacking me, calling me an old cunt. Like, niche fan. The funny thing is that I come across on here like I wouldn't say boo to a goose, right? It's all about respect, and I don't give a shit if he's on the vodka. He needs to chill the fuck out. You know, look, it's why is he attacking me? He's clearly attacking me because he thinks I'm an easy target, and I guarantee you, he's gonna find I'm not a fucking easy target, mate. To be fair, we got results against most of the teams in the top sixes at Villa. It's the lower teams said hi, worrying times. The green and gold said hi, worrying times for Arsenal. Look, it really is. Like, you know, Arsenal fans, you know, I really, you know, it is a difficult one. It really is. Exactly 30 years to the day, we were 12 points behind Newcastle after 23 games. Make us dream. Evening, mate. Evening, Andy. Look, I love the fact that you guys are talking about that tonight. It's not something. It's not something that I'm gonna get into that debate, right? But doesn't mean to say that you guys can't get on that tonight. Look, you know, I guarantee you tonight we're gonna have people. Look, I've been abused already tonight. Look, niche fan, just tell him to chill, man. Like, just niche. Look, just tell him just to chill out. Look, he's just. As I say, niche fan, right? I have no problem with people, right? I've got no issues at all. Look, the only thing I will never, I couldn't care if you were 6'7", 400 pounds, mate. The one thing I will not have is disrespect to me. I will always stand up for myself and stand up for people. So look, if he's sorry, It's fine. Look, I don't understand why you want to come on here and have a pop at me. Look, but look, I'm more than happy to, let's just chill, mate. It's all about chill, buddy. It's all about chill. Look, Niche fan, I appreciate it, mate. Risky Bandit says, play up Pompey. Last week I posted it's a derby, anything can happen, just keep the faith in the other. That I posted how Arsenal bottled up games. I wish I had the same balls at the bookies. Same with people out there. 3 points in the bag. Let's look forward to Fulham. You're doing a great job. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Andy. Look, guys. I mean, look, people. Look, I know people get excited and people get angry, but it's just people just need to chill. So look, let's get on to the game. And look, as I said before the City game, right? What I loved about that game is it was a derby, and that was a win for the fans, which I absolutely love, by the way, right? And I will always say this. This is really important to say, right? And I know DPK, got annoyed, right? But I give match going fans maximum respect, because those are the guys and girls that go to the game. Those are the guys that have been going for since their mums and dads, their dads, their uncles, right? And over the last couple of years, it's been dog shit. So last week, if you couldn't enjoy that, and I was so pleased for the home fans, like a DBK, right? Absolutely made up for those fans, because those are the fans that go every game. Those are the fans that have to put up with when it's pissing it down with rain, it leaks. So big up to them. And then going forward today, right? Going forward today, they've won for the away fans. Like this is what I don't understand. What the big rift is between match going fans and not. Like, I think it's really important for this channel to acknowledge, because I don't think others do, right? And it's really important to acknowledge those fans, right? So today I was really pleased, more than anything else, really pleased that even though they were going to go a goal behind, which they did, and they came back, and it was a don't get me wrong, it was a hard watch, right? Absolutely. It was a really, really hard watch today, but they won. Like the away fans, and I always big up the away fans as well. Look, you go to games, right? You go away, and you've had to put up with Grimsby. You've had to put up with all those games, and today was a win for you guys. And look, DPK, I know he's annoyed, right? Today, I don't know why. But this is why I will always prefix these shows with it's really important to acknowledge the fans that go to games, right? And then we will get into the games as well. Let's have a look. And he says, some weird people out there, 3 points in the bag. Let's look forward to Fulham. Thank you, buddy. My first game was Boca Juniors many moons ago in a friendly. Rio's debut and Tevez played for them. Jesus, I remember. I wasn't there, but Galatasaray when United lost to Galatasaray. Season ticket holder now. How times have changed at the club, says Andy. United will start to earn some respect after the last two results. It's been too long since there was a case. Come on, United, keep the faith. Zane says, hello, my friend. Thanks for giving United a lifeline. Thank you and congratulations. Lagina says, hi there. Good game tonight. Hard for me as an Arsenal fan, but the Dorgu and couldn't go as well. Look, and look, Logan Dino, mate, absolute massive respect for coming on to the show tonight. Look, mate, absolute respect. Look, it's difficult. It's difficult. I take no joy. I take no joy in losing. Right? I take no joy in getting beat. I take little joy in other fans. Tonight, like you get certain Arsenal fans who you do want to rub it in their face, but at the end of the day, one of the things actually I will say tonight, I will say this, which has really impressed me. Not that it should impress me, but I was actually really, I did go and watch a little bit of Arsenal fan TV, right? I've got to say, I was actually quite impressed by the fact that it wasn't about us. It wasn't the fact that, and I didn't see everything. I just saw some clips, and to be fair, like they weren't going on about how we were lucky. I actually thought some of the stuff tonight was reasonably fair. So I think Arsenal have their own issues. I think Arsenal have their own ghosts. I think Arsenal have their own ghosts. So I just think it's really important that respect as always, right? Gio says United Zane says I'm very happy. No, you've taken away. Footy says there was a spider on the wall behind you. I'm not scared of spiders, so I wouldn't care if a spider was crawling on my head. I really wouldn't care. Where are the other mods? I'm here on my own. My team, City, are 5 points behind Arsenal. Look, Zane. I mean, I don't know if Arsenal are going to try to throw the title away. I don't know. I don't know. That City and Arsenal are going to fight for it today, but we will come on to the game. Great day out for the Emirates. Come on, the Reds. We are starting to get it right. Feeling my season ticket may be with. And look, this is what I keep saying, and I just want to prefix the show is I'm not going to talk about the negatives tonight. That look, we can talk about all that tomorrow and through the rest of the day, right? But tonight, like, I'm so happy tonight. Just I'm happy that we won. I'm happy that we can banter certain Arsenal fans tonight. I'm more than pleased. Like, I'm more than pleased, and I genuinely mean this. I'm more than pleased for the match-going fans who go home and away, but especially the ones that go away, because you've had to come to London today to watch that game and look at what they've done. You've seen two fantastic goals. You've seen a team that's played amazingly well, and this is all I wanted to say tonight at the top of the show is I've been critical of this team. I'm still critical of this club, and I'm still Glazers out. I'm still Ineos out. I can't stand Wilcox. That's there. That's always going to be there, right? But the biggest thing for me tonight is fans. It's okay for people at home like me who stream. I'm in the comfort of my home, and DPK at the start of the show, if you didn't see that, really pissed off at me, right? But in some respects, I respect that, and he's right. Like, he goes to matches, right? Completely respect that, right? And that is what this channel does, right? And I'm just so happy for the home match going fans the previous week. I'm so happy with the away fans because you got to see that today. So look, this is why it's really important to acknowledge that. I'm not going to go on to the next game just yet, but look, if we can't enjoy it tonight, then then when can we When can we do it? Bakayoko says F City, another great result. Exactly. No, it is. United performance was amazing. As a City fans, respect. Thanks, buddy. Dino is in the house. Paul's Nan says it's Aguna. United deserved the win, but Maguire did do a handball. Look, mate. Again, respect for Arsenal fans coming on here as well. Look, how many times have Arsenal got the result? Look, there are small things, right? That VAR had the opportunity to do that. I just think in the context of a game, maybe you've got a point, but I think overall, I think you are right. I think we definitely deserved the win. But we will talk about the game. Zane says United won this weekend. City and United won. I'm very happy. Niche fan says DBK is always like this on Vody. I have the utmost respect for you and I apologise on his behalf. Vody just makes his head fall off. Look. Niche fan, all I'm going to say is look, DPK, right, as I've said this, is I respect the fact that he's a match going fan. I will keep saying this about match going fans. They have I cannot respect that enough. So look, mate, I've got no issue. I've got zero issue. I will always defend myself, and that's it, niche fan. But look, I've got no hate, no grief towards anybody. I hope we don't throw it away, but if we do, then that's nothing new. I would love to see City and United in the Champions League. Manchester would get a lot more support. FC corner kick. We will get on to the game as well. Sally says next 4 or 5 games are very favourable, buzzing for the team, but real tests coming, can't get complacent. And look, and these are the comments tonight that I like to see. I want to see what I love about this channel, and this is your show tonight. I'm going to try not to get my opinions in that much tonight, but what I'm loving tonight is I'm seeing people who are super happy and think that we're going to win the league, right? Fantastic. We've got people who are happy with the result, who want to who think that we shouldn't be complacent. Now, and how good is that? The fact that we're having these conversations because we want to get because we fucking want. Like I can't just express that enough. That the most important takeaway from this tonight is that we won a game. We won. And we can have these conversations. And look, we're gonna get. Oh, well, we've only won 2 games and that sort of stuff. Like, I'm not getting into a top 4 debate necessarily. There are no excuses now. But look, let's get through. Let's get through the stuff. Niche fan says 84 watching. Look, niche fan, legend, my friend, absolute legend. Jack Bridger says I'm mixed about the win. Happy for United, my team, but I feel we have shoved the knife in Arsenal's title hopes, and I hope they can still win the league. Did you ever rate Neil Webb? Oh, I loved a bit of Neil Webb. Carl, Neil Webb. I loved a bit of Neil Webb. Look, Neil Webb wasn't necessarily at the club for the longest of times, but I think Neil Webb was sold to Forest, wasn't he? I love Neil Webb. Neil Webb as well scored a fantastic goal. I can't remember who he was against, but Neil Webb scored an absolute cracking goal. Look, I'm from that era, right? So I remember Neil Webb around that time. I remember Phelan. I remember what was his name? Wallace. I remember Leighton in goal. I remember like all this playing, but Neil Webb was when I started to watch it. Yeah, Neil Webb, absolute brilliant. Sarah says, United forever strong. Zane says, as a City fan, I was very disappointed when City lost to Bodo Glimt. It's really frustrating. The new signers Semenyo and Guehi have made City a bit more better. Yeah, look, you know, it happens. Good teams lose at times. And this is what I was saying. Like good teams lose. I think there's a bit of a difference, right, between what we've been going through. This has been consistently crap. Whereas you got City who like have a blip. Arsenal are like up and down. We're going through a different thing. But look, Zane, mate, City are still gonna be there. City are always gonna be there. City are unless the wheels fall off when Pep leaves. City are now make too much money. They've got too many good players. I wouldn't be concerned. Amrin did all the hard work. Now Carrick is taking the glory. Interesting opinion. Give me your views on that tonight. Do you think that Amrin has done all of the hard work? I mean, I again, I'm going to not try. I will read out his comments. We can debate his comments. Look, I think Amarin. The saddest thing for me here is that I don't think Amarin will get the praise that he should do. But Amarin is. Yesterday, I was of the opinion that I wanted him in. I'm not going to move away from the fact that we sacked him. I'm not comfortable with it. But look, we've got to go with what we've got now. And Carragher is doing a good job. Sarah says, United forever strong. Logan Dini says, I can't wait for a United fan to get his haircut. Sally says, that wasn't handball. Natural position. Odegaard, Arsenal's corner FC. Paul says, Dorgu goal. Fuck it. Dorgu goal. I mean, let's talk about that for a second. What an absolute amazing goal. What an absolute look, what an absolute amazing goal. Look, niche fan, look, mate. Look, people get drunk, right? People get annoyed, mate. Look, it doesn't matter, right? I would accept. If I was a bit drunk and I was giving somebody abuse, I would expect them to stand up for themselves. Well, look, mate, niche fan. The one thing I don't do is hold a grudge, right? Once it's done and dusted, it's done and dusted. People say stuff all of the time that they don't mean when they're drunk, mate. I've been there. So look, I don't hold any. There is no grudge, niche fan, from me at all. Just look, people say things all of the time. People get annoyed. That's life. Someone says, good evening, JB. What a match. That was vintage. I mean, we will get through the match. I'll get through the comments, but I mean, what a match. Amrin came in with nothing, bought a few players, even though his tactics didn't fit most players, but the players he bought, well, I think Dorgu is Bell put to, and again, I want to talk about these players like Dorgu. He got dogs abuse. He got absolute dogs abuse. And I'm when I talk about this channel, right, I'm not talking necessarily about me. I'll tell you some of the things that I've said on here, but you guys say similar things to me. So when I talk about I said stuff, doesn't mean that it's all my opinion. It just means that I say things, And look, we've been saying for the longest time on here that give Dorgu time. Dorgu is a young lad. He's up and down. Now, I never thought he was a wing back. There are players that Amarin try to bring into a system that they weren't buying into. And sometimes that happens when you've got a new coach that comes in and they change a player's position. The best example, Bruno Fernandes. Look, I'm not saying that Bruno was the best player on the pitch today. The last 2 games, he's been better. He's been better, you know. So sometimes what happens is you bring in a player and you change them to a position. And I actually think Ahmad was. I thought Ahmad was looking like our best player. And then in the last 2 games, Dorgu has just looked night and day. He looks powerful. He looks quick. You know, and this is what happens. Like if Amram was still here, we'd have lost the last 2 matches. And do you know what? Maybe you're right. You know, I think these players, down tools, but I don't think they down tools on purpose. I think they down tools because I just think that when you look at it, right, this is why I think it imploded. Right, this is why I think it absolutely imploded. Was because the players didn't believe in what Amarin was trying to do. Amarin didn't believe in these players anymore. Wilcox behind the scenes it was just a toxic mess. You know, to have a toxic club and then you bringing a toxic mess, it was never going to work. And I think that removing Amarin, and I'm not going to get on to these players, you take away one part of that and you let another part do what they want to do. In the long term, is it going to work? I don't know, but I think it was never going to work. So look, but also I've got to give praise to Carrick. I've got to. I can't just say, you know, Amarin, you know, he did all the work, which I think he has done a chunk of work. But, you know, I've also got to give credit to the players again. I have to give players credit again. And I'll tell you what, I'll give players more credit this time. And I want them to keep showing this. It's because the work rate today was better. You know, they didn't just give up today. You know, the more games, right, there is nothing wrong in disliking these players. I've disliked these players for a very, very long time, and deservedly, right? You don't have to feel the same way as me, right? But these players can turn it around. You know, today what we saw City was step one. And today what I saw that I liked is what I've been asking for all season. I can put up with a result that's not great. What I can't put up with is lackluster performances, right? But today, 1-0 down, and to bear in mind that Arsenal, I think somebody said they've won 24 games out of 24 when they've scored first, right? We're talking about, and this is why before the game I emphasised the point that Arsenal have the best defence in the league. They are fully fit. They've got a cracking team, and I emphasised that point because if we'd won, it is no mean feat, and that's what I wanted to see. The reason why I did that is because now I can look back and go, these players, wow, look, these players, wow, today, fantastic. You know, I can praise Luke Shaw today. Was he our best player? No. What was it? Was it a vintage Shaw performance? No. But they all worked today, and that's what I loved about that today was the work rate, the performance, and that is what we needed. First City and now Arsenal. Who's next? Fulham. Joachim says, what's your opinion on Arsenal's obsession with corners and pushing the keepers to get an advantage? Look, what I'm going to say is it's very much it's a small gains, right? I think the reason why Arsenal do what they do is because they are looking for more. They're looking for marginal gains, right? So imagine if you've got a corner, right, and you're a threat from a corner, why not turn a corner into like a penalty chance. And what I mean is that sometimes teams just whip in corners and there's no thought, right? There's a reason why Arsenal score from corners. I don't mind that approach at all. I don't like what they do in regards to corners and pushing, but that is up to the Premier League. That is up to VAR. But today it didn't work. It is NFL FC. And look, I admire it. I do. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. I want football to be won in a certain way, but I'm not a fan of it. But I understand if you can get a marginal gain and a win from a header, who am I to argue? I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I get it. Dorgy was absolutely mint today. Niche fan. Cunha was a beast. Come on, United, says Niche fan. Zane says, I agree. Arsenal is corner FC. City and United play good football. Morning from Australia. Absolutely buzzing. Been up since 3:30. And look, maybe 39. Look, and again, maybe 39, right? This is my whole point, right? You've got people that go to matches, the home fans. You've got people that go to work. You've got people that wake up at 3:30 to watch that. And I bet for the first time in a long time, and again, massive respect, right? It's okay for me. I sat here at 4:30. Amazing. And you got people who get up at 3:30, and I bet your day today is going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. So look, it's amazing. Simon says, to all you Arsenal fans who put us down, did you enjoy your humble pie today? I have been saying Arsenal's attack is lackluster. Without headers, they won't have enough to maintain their position on top. Last 10 games will be tight. Some Arsenal fan on AFTV was demanding the players go and apologise. Interesting. We weren't going to relax, just settle for a point. We were out to get all for it. And do you know what? Carrick as well. Look, I've got to give Carrick praise. We'll have the Carrick debate in about 5 or 6 games time, right? But Carrick didn't just sit back. That's the thing that I like, is Carrick didn't just sit back. I hate to say this, Amrin would have sat back. Carrick didn't. And that's what I like today. Ingambolu says, good evening, up United, all the way from Nigeria. Nice fan says, I want that United strand fella to get a 1-1 over. I love it. Zane Nikaru says, Cunha and Dorgu's goals were absolute criminal. Benedict says, hello. Benedict, legend. Simon, it just proves that Arsenal aren't indestructible. Last time we had a match like that away to Arsenal was February 2005, when we came back with a 4-2 win a game, or the Manx are coming out of the woodwork. It won't last. And look. All I'm going to say on that is LLOB7 is this, right? We've been here all season. Nobody's coming out of anywhere, right? We've been here. I've been here. You guys have been here with me through all of the games this season, pretty much, right? We've been through the Fulhams. We've been through the Toffees. We've been through the Grimsbys. We went through the Brighton game. We went through the Wolves games. We went through all of those games, right? But what you've got to understand, and it's just like any other match, right? And look, I don't know what team you support. Is this right? It's a win. It is a massive win today. So fans should be allowed today. Look, tomorrow is a different day. Tomorrow is a different beast. Tomorrow is a different day, right? Fans are allowed a couple of hours after they win a match to say, United are back. They are entitled to say, what a game. They're entitled to come out today and be happy. If it was a City, I'm sure City fans were pleased with their win. I'm sure Aston Villa fans, I'm sure Scunthorpe fans, and I mean, I don't know who won, but I'm sure Middlesbrough fans were happy if they won. I'm sure Coventry fans are happy. I'm sure Barcelona fans are happy, because that is what you do. Look, that is what you're supposed. Look, I can be the most miserable bastard on this planet, right? Because this team has sent me down paths at times. But look, if you can't get on board, and look, I'm not letting this club or these players off of the hook, right? But this win today it's so important, and it's not just about coming out. Look, you've got fucking match going away fans who've had to travel around this country to watch that bag of shit. What a win for them today, right? What a win for those kids. What a win for those kids who watch it on TV. What a win for those people who are up at 3:30 in the morning across the other side of the world. What a win. The Fulham game, the ground's going to be buzzing. What a, you can't deprive fans of being happy and going for a win. It's just a ridiculous notion. What a goal Dorgu scored. As a City fan, he was like Tony Yeboah. I remember watching that Leeds match. Sinayaz, Summit is bottling time for Arsenal. We had a good match. Come on, come in, lads. Let's get these likes up. Look, guys. Look, you guys are legends, and Niche fan, mate. You're a legend, buddy. Escape, Manyo. I love it. United are a part-time club. Fair enough. Look, we know tonight, or we're going to get the banter, right? But look, at least tonight we can have a smile on our face tonight. We can be happy, we can be angry, we can be sad. Look, a win is a win, right? Amrin was on Ineos, didn't back and lie to everyone. All eyes on the midfield. Rebuild to top four would help a lot. No, I agree with you, Sully. Agree completely. Once again, the dog was let off his lead. He was like a terrier on the pitch. Carrick has put a lot of faith in your team and your players, like Mainu and unused players on the bench. He's made it work. Sir Michael Carrick. I think football we played in the last two matches is better than almost every performance under Amrin, especially the derby last week. And look, I was the staunchest of Amrin inners. I wanted to believe, and look, there will be in the annals of time, we will look back and we can possibly say, look, let's be fair, Amrin didn't get players, blah. But right now we're in battle, right? We're in a battle, and we're trying to fight for. Look, whether I like it or not, we are in a battle for fourth, and I think what these players have done. One thing I will say, what these players have done now, whether I believe that we can finish fourth or fifth or not, what these players have done is they've made a rod for their own back, because we now all know we've got one game a week, and we all know now there is no excuse. There is no excuse for this team, and I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying that this team is going to walk, because we're going to have to play different teams. This team can now prove what it can do. So, BBC Football classed Cunha as the man of the match. Sincerely, Amrin was just playing Bruno out of position. Bruno was outstanding. Carrick can be your Pep. Interesting. I generally reckon Carrick will do a good job. We kept Ugarte off the pitch, says Simon. Carrick and Steve Holland must know what they're doing. Murtaz, sorry, but I'm gonna butcher your name. Murta Laka says hi. I'm going to call you Murta. Sully says our players can't be out of their comfort zones, but that's what's going to get you to the next level. Nonska says hi. Jim Smith says scummy United. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, buddy. Mate. Dorgu's goal was world class. Bang Bang says, what a win, mate. Tonight, don't want Don't want Carrick for the long term. Don't think he's the right thing for United. But well done tonight. Zane says Carrick will make Manu good. Again, a City fan. I would like to see him play for my team. He's so talented. Jim says scum always be scum. Mate, chill. Here's a song for the Gunners. When you wash your face, you wash Arsenal. I love it. Jim Smith says yes, and I'm pissed. Look, Jim, mate, get it out. Jim, get it out. Look, I get it, mate. I get it. Be pissed off. Be annoyed. I get it. You're perfectly entitled. I think you're walking the line between, look, we don't mind banter, but there is a fine line. But Jim, look, I get it, mate. Look, you just want somewhere to vent the anger. I get it. I'm a happy City fan. Jim Smith said we played shit. The thing is, Jim, Jim, I thought Arsenal today. This is the bit that I did, Jim. This is the bit that I don't get with Arsenal. In that game, right? Is you've got the best back four. Factually, you've got that midfield. We didn't overrun your midfield today. I thought Rice was fine. It's that front three. It's that Saka. Saka. Somebody came on here and was saying that Saka is world class. Saka is he's great. Saka on his day can be an immense player. I will not disagree with that. It was baffling today, Jim. I don't know, mate. You've got some fabulous players. Jim, I question whether it's a mentality thing, mate. I question whether it's I don't know, because Jim, as you know, right, it takes more than goals and a team to win a league. It takes a mentality as well. And I just think, Jim, if Arsenal make that step and they win the league once, they will win it again. It's just, Jim, it was just a very, very weird performance. I can understand, Jim, why you're pissed off, mate. Saliba is shit, says Jim. Me too, Jim, but it's not the fans' fault that we lost. No, look, it's not. And look, I look, as a United fan, right? I understand. I would rather be in your position, being pissed off because we're fighting for a league, rather than being happy because we've got a chance of fourth. I'm not. Look, I'm happy. That is where I'm at. That is where the club is. But if I'm going to give you a ray of hope, is I'd rather be pissed off because we're trying to fight for a league title, and you're still top of the league as well, by the way. I would rather that than us. Even though it was a fantastic win, and I'm happy, I'd rather be in that position than be in a position where we're fighting for fourth. But look, Jim says Saliba needs to go. Arsenal set piece, no threat in open play today. A few more games at the top. He kept giving the ball away. Saliba is a good player. I have never doubted you, Sky. Saliba doesn't need to go. You played well. To be fair, look, Jim, look, buddy, look, it's. I thought today was a mixture of United played the best that we can play. We played against an Arsenal that I don't get it. We played against an Arsenal that's got all of the tools, but for whatever reason couldn't unlock the box. It's I don't know. Arsenal scored a lot of corners. Our goals were shit as well. Sean says that these players can turn it around. Turn what around? You're sitting fifth. That's overachieving for the current squad. Look, Sean, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree. We finished 15th last season. If we were to finish 8th this season, what a turnaround. The thing is with these players, I'm not going to really get into it too much tonight, but if we finish 4th, 5th, 6th, whether people like that or not, if we were to finish 8th, as much as it would be a shitty end to the season, this part of the season should give you hope, because if you stick another couple of players in there, it'd be fantastic. But look, is this squad overachieving? In some respects, yes. In some respects, no. But we are sitting 4th, I think. Gary says, match of the day now. No one was spectacular. Concentration and being clinical won us the game. Did City a favour there? Yes, we did. So much for the best defence in the league. Manchester is red. I'm not the guy. I think you're getting better, says Jim. Villa must be happy. Exactly. I do agree with you. It's great to finally be here, says Henderson. I hope Man City beat Galatasaray on Wednesday. Mohammed says, what do you think is the winner of the Champions League? Look, I don't know, mate. Look, who do I think is going to win the Champions League, mate? I mean, like, we're not in it. PSG, Bayern, Arsenal are in there as well. It could be anybody. I don't know. I would go PSG. I really, really don't know, my friend. Unreal result, 2 of the hardest games recently, and United looked really menacing. Arsenal fans nursing hangovers. Carrick is all right for you lot, says Jim. To be fair, mate, should be both Manchester clubs be London. Clubs Northern should always be the better teams. Go through that. Hold on a minute. Amrin didn't sit back when he beat Liverpool. Didn't sit back when he beat Liverpool away. Yeah, but that was one game. That was one game. I hate United, but I respect them. Fulham and West Ham on form. Good evening, all, says EJ Williams. Joachim says, what's your opinion on Scholes and Butt talking trash on Lissandro? Look, Joachim, I've said, look, I'm not going to go too much on that tonight. All I'm going to say on that is that I expect better from 2 legends of this club. And what I mean by that is, look, did they say anything wrong? Not really, right? It's handbags, really. But at the same time, is that sort of conversation, right? If that's what you think, have that conversation, away from a podcast. I just think it was they think their podcast is immune to criticism, right? I think the one thing that they underestimated was when the likes of Paul Scholes, Nicky Butt, David Beckham were playing, fans would support them. So let's just say if ex-players did that to them, we would have supported them at that time, right? The problem is that what they've got now is that their day has been and gone. Current fans are going to protect players against people that call them out, and whether they like it or not, fans are going to be seeing these people now, because fans don't know Nicky Butt. There are old codgers like me that do, but there's a massive chunk of this fan base that don't know Nicky Butt. No, they've heard the name Paul Scholes. They know because they've been told by their dads. They know they've been told by their granddads, their brothers, their uncles. They've never seen Paul Scholes play. It's like, for example, me with like a George Best, right? I know that George Best was an amazing player. I've never seen him play. I only know he's good. because I've seen him play. Well, because I've seen videos. And there isn't a ton of those out there. But I've got no personal affinity to George Best. I have as a legend, and I respect him, but I didn't see him play, so I don't have that that connection, right? The same as people who are 10 and like 11 now. They never watched Beckham play. They never watched Scholesy play. They never watched Andy Cole play. They don't have that connection. So when now these old legends are insulting these younger players, that is what the problem is. Is that I genuinely believe that they think that they're a relevant part of the club. They're part of the history. Paul Scholes is an absolute legend, one of the best players to come out of this club. What a legend! But that time has been and gone, and I just think that it was time. That look, if you are going to trash talk people, and somebody comes back, after the game says, "Come on, 3-2." Jim Smith says, "Good to see you back." LSK, relax. Is someone going mental? Who's going mental? Barkmore United fan, Arsenal team have accumulated fatigue due to. Okay. I see. What did I tell you yesterday? We win by 3 goals. Look, EJ. Look, this is what I love doing this. It's because I love it when you guys are right. Like EJ Williams, mate. I love it. When you guys come on here, and I get things wrong. I said it was going to be a close game. I was right. I said that I think that we would win by the odd goal. I was right, but I thought Arsenal were going to nick it, but I was wrong. And you guys were right. You guys said a 2-1. You guys said a 3-2, a 3-1. And that's why I love doing this. Long rough patch. City played Champions League. They won yesterday. Harry Maguire up the Reds. We're better. We're better. We better not fuck it up. Liverpool drop points again. Yeah. Justin here says Arsenal going to bottle it. We need to win it this season. Let you go through that. As a City fan, I'm happy you to be Arsenal. It makes a brilliant race now, but I'm embarrassed. And look, Jim, I think that's probably what it more is today, more than anything else, right? Is that I think Arsenal fans feel a bit embarrassed today. You shouldn't do because it's not your fault. You didn't do anything to feel embarrassed about. It's. James Williams says, hi, hello, buddy. Simon says, my pub's barmaid is a City fan and she didn't turn up last Monday as her son is an Arsenal fan. John Roberts says, I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. Justin Ayres says, in it, Zane, I called City to win the league just through experience. Jesus isn't that good. Jesus isn't that good. Tyrone says, I'm really afraid of these players. Honestly, I'm afraid to get excited. And Tyrone, mate, this is where I'm at. Now, I want to trust these players again. Look, there are still players in the squad that we need to rebuild the squad. Let's be having this straight, right? But I want to trust these players. Now, I want to predict wins. If I was more confident in this team today, I would have liked to have predicted a win. But because I don't trust these players, I can't do that. If teams start playing well every week, Arsenal are done. Still with 15 games left. Ahmad played well again today. Did anyone see Martinez smack Jesus in the back of the head? I didn't see that. Jesus only just come back. Yep. Josh says, we've only got Spurs and Liverpool. The rest we should be getting 3 points from. United have had a rough time. Yes, we have, buddy. We certainly have. See you in the Champions League next season. I hope so. I do hope so. Eric says, how much of the last 2 wins are due to Carrick do you think are not the new manager bounce? I love your videos. By the way, thanks, Eric. Look, the only reason these shows are good is because of you guys, Eric. So look, massive thank you. It's difficult, mate. It's so difficult. You know, it's. I tell you what it is. I know exactly. I'll tell you what it is. Right. It is. Carragher has gone back to basics. I also think the timing has been right. Is that we've got players back, but I think more than anything else, I think it's two things, right? I think it's manager bounce, but I also think it's Carrick, and it's got to be Carrick. You know, it's a combination, right? Is Carrick has to take some plaudits here. Steve Holland has to take some plaudits as well, because he's put players in their positions. You know, he's put Bruno at 10. You know, what I want to see, Eric, is what's he going to do Fulham. How's he going to set up next week when we play a low block? Because Fulham are going to come and they're going to fear us now. When Fulham decide to park the bus, what is Carrick going to do then? And that, Eric, is where I think we'll see whether it's Carrick or whether it's the bounce. So I think Fulham is going to be an interesting game. Let's see what happens at that point. Sky says Mbeumo is a proper unit. I think he's really good. Engabano says hi, hello my friend. Mbeumo is a good player. Top four is a must. We've shown we're keen after beating first and second exactly. The sleeping giant has been awoken, says Chris. I don't know if Fergie was at the match or not. Suarez says, damn, I'm dreaming. I had no idea Carragher is a United supporter, says Suarez. Well, look, you know, I mean, Suarez, that's quality. I'd sign Ahmad. Jim Smith, yeah, good player. There's no stopping Dorgu now, exactly. John says, come on, 2 wins don't make a season. That's what happens. And yeah, it's true. Look, John, this show tonight, don't get it confused with don't get this show tonight confused with I don't think that we're suddenly back. I don't think that we're suddenly the best team. This show is a bubble show about today's result. You know, I'm purposefully not discussing the manager situation. I'm not going to discuss the players really, other than the sort of team. But I'm not going to go into that tonight, John. But I do agree. I got my anger out earlier with a hot chocolate and a match on it. FC, brilliant. A song from the 70s with one line change. We had joy, we had fun, we had Arsenal on the run. You guys are on it tonight. Eddie says, Idiot says hi. Youssef says hi. Josh Nelly says, United played shit for a bit. Took us 25 minutes to get. Agreed. And I promise you, I will get on to the match as well. Will the win stop us getting people in this month like the midfield cover? So Eric, I don't think we were never getting plays in, mate. We were never getting plays in. I think we need a midfielder still. I do. I think we need at least one more. But Eric, I don't think we were ever going to get plays in, buddy. Like Neves and Diddy, Neves for me in Diddy, no, but Neves for me, yes. Arsenal have had a few managers since Wenger, and none of them can cross the line and raise the trophy. It's probably hopefully a small rough patch we're on. Richard says, I'm Richard Bodu, I think it's how you pronounce it, from Ghana. I hope by the grace of God everything will be fine for Michael Carrick. Thank you, Richard. Bear Air says, my favourite player of all time was Roy Keane. I have a player card from Forest. I was given to me by a British soldier in Bosnia when I was 9 years old. Look, welcome, my friend. Look, I love that story. I love that story. Like it doesn't matter how you start. Like how you lot players. Bosnia as well, my friend. Like I there are some people who are not old enough to understand what that means, but I do. So look, I fully respect the story. The Bosnia story. So look, I am aware of that. I am older, so I was fully aware of that sort of stuff as well. So look, mate, I love that story for many reasons. So massive respect there. Um, Liverpool dropped points against Burnley, and we are above you. I don't understand the attitude difference after 2 games. You played like United of old. I do agree. Arsenal haven't been special; they've just been solid. Josh, we beat 2 teams we didn't expect. Roger says Gunnar, good run of winnable games coming up. Stay positive. I think we can get top 4. Be a shame if he gets top 4 and they try another foreign manager. I can't wait until the next game. I don't mind Arsenal. It's the fans that bother me. Come on, the next game. We'll be buoyed by these 2 wins. Simon Samet, how can Carrick not be considered if he carries on this run? Ben Dover says, hello, mate. I love it. Thierry Henry looked nervous today. Scholes admitted he didn't see his comments on the level of making a difference. And look, I get it. I do get it. But I think that the problem is I think they underestimated the kickback. But you were talking about Amrin like he was some ultra defensive manager. He wasn't. And if you watched the majority of the Arsenal game and the City game, we did play. Bang bang. When have I said he's ultra defensive? Amarin, if you watch the Everton game at home, he went defensive, mate. He went defensive against Spurs. He did it. He's not. I never said that at all, mate. You're taking my words, bang bang, and you're twisting them, right? Amarin at times was a very defensive coach. If you look at those games and the criticism that he got in those games, if you look at the Toffee game, he played defensive football at home. That's all I'm saying. I say this respectfully, but I think the revision of history a little bit in terms of Amarin tactics, mate. Look, bang bang, mate. You're taking one piece of thing that I said, and you're rewriting what I've said. If you look, I was an Amarin fan, mate. I was an Amarin inner. I liked some of the things that he tried to do, but if you go back and look at the games and you look at how many defensive changes that he made, you look his the goals that we scored more goals. He was definitely more attacking. There was no argument about that. But he also wasn't this ultra attacking coach either. How can you say fans don't know Nicky? But what I'm saying, Josh, is I'm not saying that fans don't know Nicky Butt. What I'm saying is that current day fans who are of a certain age, they know the name Nicky Butt. They know the name Paul Scholes, Beckham. What I'm saying to you is there's a difference between knowing the player, knowing the name, knowing Paul Scholes, right? But if you don't see them play, you're not going to have the same affinity, right? I know Dennis Law, right? I know Dennis Law, George Best, etc. Right? I've got a respect for these players. I know that these were fantastic players, but I don't have that connection in terms of I never watched them play. You may think things in a different way to me, right? I fully respect that. Fans know players' names, but they don't. Like, I know Nicky Butt. I'd love to meet Nicky Butt. I absolutely. When I talk about certain players, and I talk about servants of a club who were fantastic players in terms of they would have sat at this club. Nicky Butt falls into that. Selfless. I think Nicky Butt was a very, very underrated player, right? But fans don't have the same affinity to Nicky Butt. Fans, of course, they do know Nicky Butt, but Josh, whether you like it or not, fans are not going to have the same affinity with me towards some of these players, mate. Says that time he's been and gone, mate. Are you for real? Ex-players, pundits are displaying a standard that Manchester United stand by. Josh, mate, I don't really understand. You said ex-players, pundits are displaying a standard that United stand by. Mate, I'm not saying look, Josh, you're taking what I've said about an incident and you're twisting it around and saying that I'm saying it about every pundit. I'm not spoken about Rooney. I'm not spoken about Roy Keane. I'm Josh. You're taking a specific thing that I said about a specific example about Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt in that specific thing that they said, and what I said, because Josh, you are taking it, mate, and you are twisting what I've said. I was talking specifically about Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes saying that, which, whether you like it or not, in my view, was a very, very disrespectful thing to say. And there are many, many people that feel the same way as that. If you're taking out, if you're expanding the wider thing here, there are plenty of ex-players like Rooney knows, Keane knows, Scholes says things that are right, Nicky Butt says things that are right. I'm not talking about all ex-players. You're the one, Josh, talking about ex-players. I never said that. I was talking about a specific example of a specific thing that was said that I think, in terms of the context. But look, Josh, you seem to have this agenda tonight, my friend. You sort of seem to be calling up these things. I'm saying these things and I'm explaining it, Josh. But you sort of seem to be extending the truth of what I'm saying. But look, Josh, that is up to you, mate. That is up to you. Martin Fay says, hello, Martin. City beat Wolves again, but Poundland can't score. Do you think we still need Southgate? Jesus Christ, no. The guy doesn't know what he's talking about opposite opinions. Look, Josh, mate, look, Josh, you've clearly got an issue, mate. I don't know, Josh, why. I've clearly explained my position. If you don't like my position, then feel free to leave, Josh. Like, I've explained my position. My position is my view. Josh, look, mate, I'm not gonna explain it. I've explained it. I hate it when you get these silly young people that think that Neymar is better than the great R10, when in reality he doesn't even touch the science. We need to strip Bruno of the captaincy. I share that. I do. Get through these chats. I'm off. Catch you all tomorrow, says Scott. See you later, buddy. Bruno was a good off the board today. Some good passing choices. Bend over, come on, you Reds. Scrapping Amron's formation has really paid off. I do agree with you. Fair to say, Shesko a flop? No. It's too early. It's too early for me. It is too early for me. Bruno was quiet most of the first half. Took us 30 minutes to even get a foot in the game. But one thing I've seen is that we didn't lose energy, and that was always sparks to play. And Josh, look, you're right, mate. On that, it took us half an hour. You're right. I mean, look, you're right. It took us 27 minutes to spark into life. Again, Arsenal had patches, but Arsenal did some good things. But Josh, you're right. Once we got our foot in the door, you we're never going to close the door. Two very big victories, but the important thing is how we react against low level teams. Martin says, we played well tonight. I hear other people saying they still have no confidence in the squad, John. Good to see Manu back. We need to keep the defence fit. Maguire was man of the match. Stadium fans, man of the match was Dorgu. Sam says, Carrick probably won't make very many changes for the Fulham game. Well done to many. I'm pissed off at Liverpool, says Bob. He's well behind on chat. Yes, I am. I am well behind on the chat. Would you? No, I'm not going to make up in the chat. Go through this. Bob says, well done to United. I'm a pissed off a Liverpool fan. I maybe get a Smash fan, but I love United. Amarin says the beefcake and embarrassing Pratt. Josh says, yeah, I agree. Amarin parked the bus when he shouldn't have. I'm going to head out. Have a great rest of the stream and a great rest of the evening. Thanks, buddy. I bet Ugarte was still left on the bench in the bus station. Ugarte needs to go. Bruno is a snake, says the beefcake. Here's a fun fact. I've created counting Carrick. The 3 managers we've had all had beards. Shall we go for another manager with a beard? Beefcake says, you shouldn't see the shite and you just couldn't see the shite fly past your JB and score the same amount goals as Rangers. Yeah, I get what you're saying. He's no Paul Scholes, but he was a key member of. But I get what you're saying. Smelling that saves me a fortune from not having shave. Josh now says, I'm replying to what you're saying for the chat. This might be mate. I'm not mean. Look, Josh, mate. Josh, apologies, buddy. Look, I promise you, mate. I'm just trying to get through the chats. Harry says hello. Josh says the chat's miles behind. Okay. I'm going to get through the chats. I tell you what, you guys are absolutely smashing it up tonight. Who for captain? Delict for me would be captain. Shesko ain't no flop, lad, says Niche fan. Needs time and service. Niche, I do completely agree with you on that, buddy. We need to sell Shesko. Waste of money, says the beefcake. Harry says Michael Carrick is making the miracles happen. Again, I think we should give him a 3 contract, especially if we want to finish 4th. Red Devils says, hi, JB. Hello, buddy. I'm not commenting anymore until he catches up. I understand that we will probably play differently because he wants to build his team. Josh is Josh Band. I think he's all right, mate. He's okay. Josh, I'm caught up. Bruno is captain till he leaves. And look, Josh, mate, I think you're right, Josh. I think the only way that Bruno leaves being a captain, we can't take him off that really. So look, I agree. So look, let's briefly go through the match. I mean, we've gone through it. So let's briefly go through the match. Really easy, really. Look, for the first 27 minutes, I thought both teams looked nervous. Arsenal were very, very pretty with the ball. Their tactics today for me were trying to get an early corner. They're very, very good at corners. Arsenal seem to look for a corner, and there's nothing wrong with that. But Arsenal, I know that's their strength. Arsenal love a corner. They're very, very good with the ball. Their manager's Spanish. You've got one of the things that really, really concerned me today was Zubamendi, Odegaard, and a Declan Rice. Right, those 3 in that midfield. Lads, this is Mintstream. JB's the Don Rapper. Like and share. Let's get the subs up. Look, Niche fan, mate. Mate, appreciate. Look, Niche fan, legend, mate, and I really love the. Respect, buddy. Glory hunting snake. Yeah, I don't know who that's to, buddy. Extremely positive game for us. I did notice that centre back's arses fell out when Mbeumo was running at him. Beefcake. I don't know who's that aimed at, buddy. I don't know if that's aimed at me or somebody else, but look, mate, it's just chill. So look, Arsenal moved the ball around well. I was worried. I think if Arsenal had have scored in the first half an hour, I think it would have been. Curtains. Look, they did score. Now, my first thought here, and this is where again I've got to say this, and what Carrick has done, and this is where I think Carrick and the players have to take plaudits today. I'm not going to go into what I think about necessarily the team as such. I'm just going to focus on the game today. So look, Martinez, look, should he be kicking that out? Yes, he should do. But when somebody puts a cross into the box, you miss it, there's always a danger, right? Larmans again made some fantastic saves. I by far, he is probably he's just such a cracking keeper. What a save he made. What Larmans does really well, and this is what he does so well, is that he makes saves that when you look back on the game, is because he's making so many good saves now, it's expected, right? And you look back and you watch the game again and you go, oh shit, that was such a good save, right? That is what he does now. He's very, very calm on the ball. He comes for the ball extremely well. He relaxed. He can make a good save. Larmans, for me, if this is Larmans in season 1, and we're not even in season 2, we're not even through a full season yet, and this is a Larmans, mate. I'm telling you, what a goalkeeper. Maguire, I thought played extremely well today. Now look, Maguire, for whatever look, Maguire's going to have to be replaced. Maguire, I think he's had such a good redemption arc. I really respect him. I really do. Yoro, for me, I'm worried about him. Fraudnan. I worry about Yoro on the bench. I really worry. But look, Maguire, I mean, you can't buy that experience. He's perfect for that counter attack. With him, Martinez, Casemiro, Luke Shaw, in that little kind of slow back four. Brilliant. Josh says, to be honest, I'll take 30 minutes or so to get into the game, but we did start doing them key forward passes. Arsenal have won all 24 games when they scored first. And Josh, mate, that's a cracking point. Amazing. Moss says, was amazing at the game today. Buzzing. What a game. Look, mate, I absolutely take my hat off to the match going fans today. Like, if you guys were at the Emirates today, mate, I'm so glad that they won for you, and some amazing goals. Beefcake says today was our best win in the last 10 years. I think it's up there. Red Devil says I'm not on the Carrick wagon, but it doesn't prove how much the game is played between the players is, and Carrick is changing the mentality. Onana is shite. Larmans is a million times better. The place was quite. And look, again, I love listening to the match going fans. Moss, mate, absolute massive respect. I respect all fans. I always think a fan is a fan is a fan, but I always have to give it up for the match going fans. The away support. Look, you guys go away to the games, and I just have massive respect for that. So look, massive, and look, I'm glad that they won. I'm glad that they won for the match going fans as well today. So look, I thought that from what I saw, very, very slow start. Arsenal looked nervous. Even when they scored, they just looked really nervous. And then you can argue a fortuitous goal. We should get the same reception when we play Fulham. Simon, mate, we should be expecting us to to absolutely smash that. Dylan says, I'm loving the confidence of the fans and players. I certainly didn't feel this way a couple of weeks ago. And Dylan, mate, and this is what it's about, isn't it? This is what it's about. That we've all got our opinions. We've all got our opinions, right, on this team and this side. But there's not a reason that they can't come back. This is what it's about, right? Mossad says, well, what do you think of playing a 4-4-2? I think Moss, I think we play it because it suits these players. I said, Moss, I said at the start of the season, I said, why doesn't Amarin play these players at their own game? Play a 4-4-2, a 4-3-3, a 4-2-1-2-1, right? And let these players play these players at their own game, because they are limited players. Whether we like it or not, some of these players are fantastic. Some of these players are limited. They are. Whether it's because of ability, injury, age, some of these players are. That is what Amrin didn't learn to do. This is about playing with the best that you've got. It's like Moss. If if in life you wanna, I don't know, a PS5, right? And you want a PS5, but somebody gives you a PS4, right? And all you've got is a PS4, and you're trying to put PS5 games into a PS4, right? It's not going to work. Just play the PS4. Just play the PS4 games that you love. Just make sure you pick the best games, and some of them on a day might be better than a PS5, right? It's not always having the best of the best, but sometimes you can't have the best. So Moss, I think this is the team that we've got. Are we going to invest in the summer? I don't know, but we've got to play a team that and a system that suits these players. And I admire what Amarin was trying to do. He was trying to play a back three. Look, it didn't work because he didn't have these players. The reason why this is going to work is because he's playing players in their position. He's keeping it simple. He's getting that mentality up, right? So I think I am not a fan necessarily, but this is what we play. This is we've always played a back four. We've always played, back four, strong midfield, wingers, attacking football, and this is what we need to be. So I think we need to evolve beyond a simple 4-4-2. But right now we have to. We've got to play. So look, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. JB, your reactions were priceless today, especially the third goal. Yeah, my I think my specs have recovered. Arsenal were looking tired around 25. They were running out of ideas. Josh says we didn't play as dominant today as we did against City, but we did beat first. I reckon people will be feeling the Arsenal bottle jobs coming again. We have them a goal. Very, very charitable. Niche fan says we basically the best team in the league right now. We've just beaten City, and look, Niche fan, mate. Niche fan is a legend of the channel. I love Niche fan, legend. You're right, mate. You're right. United are probably the form team. I love the derby. I can't remember the last time we played like that. Arsenal were really looking forward to going 7 points clear, but we were still pumped up from the City game. We have to beat Spurs and complete the London double. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is better than World. The question is whether the future is, if football is going to be all about the system like Pep or Rodri, or going to be more about freedom and allow players to be free. Look at Eze and how different he looks at Arsenal. Exactly. Manchester City, look, mate, no problem at all. Patrick Dorgu, Richard says we shouldn't get carried away with these 2 wins. We should build on these momentums and good results along the way. Look, Richard, spot on. And we still got the win today with the pressure on City. No, Manchester will always be blue. Disagree with you on that, but that's fine. So look, We got a fortuitous goal, and then I thought we ended the half well. I thought we ended the half extremely well. Niche fan says we still need a water and a belay, but look, we talk about that tomorrow because there is Niche fan. There is so much stuff, mate. So much stuff. Second half. I mean, second half. Like, if we're talking about a game of two halves, Arsenal. If I was an Arsenal fan, look, I know you played the Champions League. I get that, right? And I don't think, from what I've seen, I haven't seen Arsenal fans. A lot of Arsenal fans, there are the odd few who are not blaming the Champions League, right? If you want to be in the Champions League and win a league, welcome to the high end football, right? I don't think that you can use that as an excuse. But they looked tired. They looked leggy. I don't. United, and this is what I don't get the shift. I don't get what has shifted. Is that United just got better? They got better and better and better. And what I think it is with Arsenal as well, is I think they like to try to pass you to death. And if it doesn't succeed, they've got no ideas. And I just think they look nervous. You know, we got the first goal. We ended the first half the better team. I don't think Arsenal were quite ready for a dogged side, right? You know, I thought Luke Shaw did okay. I thought, you know, Saka, you know, it's very, very difficult for Luke Shaw. You know, he's I'm not his biggest fan. Look, he played decent enough today, but he did find it hard. But other than that, you know, Arsenal did some stuff. You know, they got a corner. You know, they scored. You know, they scored from a corner again. You know, it was a bit of a it wasn't a dodgy goal, but it was a scrappy goal. And look, those goals, they come, right. You know, they do. They do. You know, and look, you know, again, what impressed? I can't remember now which way that it went around, but no, sorry, Dorgu's right. Dorgu first. Dorgu's goal first of all, because then it was the equalising goal, right? Dorgu's goal. I mean, Dorgu for me has been a revelation in these last three games. I think he's got better and better and better. Now Amarin did start to play him as that winger type of player. That goal, I mean, that passing, that goal, I mean, what a goal. I mean, you know, that's his second wonder goal this season. That goal was just, I think many of you said it was a Yeboah moment. I remember watching that game when he scored that goal. I mean, what a goal! I mean, you know, I think that was the goal. I think that was the catalyst to, I think, make the team believe. And I think Arsenal knew that they were in a game. Arsenal then, obviously, they then went and scored. I thought Bruno Fernandes came into the game more. Bruno Fernandes, the first half, look, he needs time and space, right? I thought he was locked in today. I thought he had a good game. I thought he was locked into it today. I thought Ahmad, he was okay as well. Obviously, Arsenal scored the scrappy goal. And then what you saw a team again that refused. This team today refused to die. This team refused. I think Arteta, I think Arsenal maybe thought that they got a point. No, and that impressed me more. That impressed me more than a win. And I do agree that it's we would enjoy the game today. Tomorrow, when you go to work, make sure you give people banter, right? But it's not about today. You know, today is a fantastic win, right? But it is beyond today. And then, of course, Cunha. You know, that man, Cunha did it again. You know, he the last game. You know, it's what I'm also loving is now Carrick has got a headache. You know, Cunha, this is what we need. You know, Cunha is making it difficult, and this is what I mean. To go back to players like Solskjaer, Nicky Butt, you know, Cunha is now forcing his way back into the team, not because somebody is injured, but because he's scoring goals, because he's fought. And this is what I've been asking for. I'm asking for players who want to fight for their position, and this is what we got today. We've got players who fought for that game today, and this is what I wanted to see. And if we see this all season, we're going to get games, I guarantee you, where we're going to lose this season. We're going to get games where we'll draw, but I want those draws and wins to be, look, we played the best team. They just scored a penalty. They just got a corner. That is what I want to see. And then Cunha's goal. I mean, for a United fan that he is, to go to Arsenal, to pick up the ball where he did, run at that Arsenal back four, and as a United player, and he is a United fan, to score that goal, fantastic. Absolutely, just what a goal. To win and look, they should all be pleased. Like, it was a Cunha winner, but that was a team performance. And look, that pleases me more than anything else. Look, a win is a win is a win, right? Even if we played crap, we got 3 points, we won it. But this is going to be the worst part for me. Is you start believing now in this team. We need to see a transition. We need to see a transition from this game, the Fulham. The protests still need to happen, and we absolutely need to transition into that game. Let me get through some of these chats. If we can bring any players by the end of the window, who will we bring in, mate? Neves. I think Neves would be probably the one. I think it's going to be a lone player, mate. I do. Simon says, niche fan, the Belabor saga is going on for too long. It really is. Just as Arsenal, from what I've seen, still tried, but I feel I haven't got the experience, and that's why I reckon City will take the league. I agree, Simon says, niche fan. I just like the players and want him and Wharton, typical Glynios bollocks. Dorgu, Rocket Man. The first Bruno should have been there, and the Butcher should have got a left block in there. Rate him the desire and faith. Dorgu's the bollocks. He's a proper mint. He's got everything you need. Dorgu was playing left wing back basically for Amarin, in case it was a case of Reservoir Dogs today. Scamrin says Nice Amarin was a complete fraud. In Star Trek they had Borg, we have the Dog. I'm loving this today. Mad how we let Amarin stay on for so long. Justin there says Cunha looks like he's going to be a sub player, but all being honest to say that we need at least a level of subs. Yes, we do. Arteta was showing up today. How horrible his Pulis ball will be his downfall. Our pub barmaid will have to serve my drinks by crouching down or getting someone else to serve me. I reckon Bruno's going in the summer. Cunha will be the perfect replacement. I do agree. These players can do crazy magic. Can't wait for more to come. Arsenal might get a trophy this season, but it won't be the league. We had 3 Musketeers out there today. Gunners are just plastic cheaters. 7 minutes of time I asked. The refs are on their side. Let's try and keep this momentum going and avoid injuries to keep players. Keep up Manchester. Paul Swansea Villa says, Jesus, mate, you need to sleep. Are you running on adrenaline from beating Arsenal? Harvey Chambers, he's gone. Probably pushing hate. So look, before I go, I'm gonna go through the player ratings. You give me your scores as well. Harvey Chambers says, well done today. I never thought I would cheer for a United player. Thanks, Harvey. Legend, my friend. So let's go through the scores. Night JB, niche fan, legend, my friend, and look, tell your mate chill. It's all good, buddy. What's your predictions for the next three games? Look, based on today, what have we got? We've got Fulham at home. Then we've got, is it Fulham? My brain's gone. I will sleep. I will sleep. It's Fulham at home. Man United fixtures. We've got Fulham at home, Spurs at home, West Ham at home. What's my prediction? I think we get at least. I want to see 7. I want to see 7. Josh says, good chat tonight, mate. We'll be subscribing. Keep up the graft. Josh, legend, my friend. Thank you, buddy. Absolute legend. And I appreciate it, mate. Look, appreciate it, buddy. You're like a kid on Christmas Eve, says Paul. No, I am. So look, Moss, legend, my friend. So look, I will give you the scores, and then it is time for bed. So what do I reckon? Grace says, do you think Dorgu will be a winger now? That means Mbeumo will be a number 9 now. I don't know. I think in this side, yes, I do. Maybe Mbeumo will be good for Shesko. Maybe he is going to be the 9, and he is doing the job. How to be a legend like you, mate? Mate, I promise you, I'm not a legend, mate. I'm just a bloke, mate. I'm just a guy. I'm just a bloke who's passionate about something. I promise you, mate. I'm not special. Some people might think I'm special needs. I'm not special. I'm just a normal guy, mate. I'm just a normal guy who loves speaking to you guys. You guys give me the time of day, so look, I'm just a random bloke. Look, ratings today. So let's go through them. Thank you, Nikarutsu, legend, my friend. So look, let's start off with Luke Shaw. Look, I'm probably gonna give overrated scores today, but let's see. So look, Luke Shaw for me today, steady Luke Shaw. 6.5 to me. I think 6 being an average score. The footballer says hi, hello, buddy. I think so. 6 being an average score today. I think Luke Shaw was a 6.5 today. Look, Luke Shaw is limited. I agree. Limited player. I think he does well. Ballon Dorgu, I love it. I think he does. Look, I think he does well when he sits back. I think when he's got a Maguire there, that sort of counter-attack FC, I think he's great. But when you're facing a team that you've got to go and attack, Grace says if Shaw stays fit, he's getting a new contract. Grace, that scares me. It scares me, Grace. I don't think that you're far wrong, and it fucking scares me. Maguire today, 7. 7 for me all day long. Again, this worked. The last two games worked. It's not going to work all the time, but Maguire gives you, Maguire gives you that. There was a tackle in the second half, and it was what a fantastic tackle. Look, Simon, I don't want Luke Shaw. It scares me. It scares the living shit out of me if we give Luke Shaw another contract. It will be the biggest con in the just ever. Maguire for me, 7. Martinez, 7 as well. You could argue a 6.57. Does the own goal, which I don't really think was his fault as such. Do you take a mark off for that? I mean, I would go 6.5 to 7. Look, I was not critical of the player. But when I knew he was coming back, my biggest concern for me was, is he going to come back to the same player? Is he fully there yet? I don't think he is. But the fact he's come back, City performance, today's performance, what a player, what a leader, and I wish we had sort of more of those players. So look, again, I think, Simon, you could argue 6.5 for Maguire, 6.5 for Martinez, 7, those sorts of scores. A Dallo today. What do I give him today? So look, for me, he gets a 6.5 from me. Look, I don't think he did anything wrong today. I don't think. I think he's a very, very limited player. But Dallo is doing a job. I can't look. I've been saying this. I ask players to do a job. It doesn't matter. Nico says, "Admit I was right." About what, Nico? Tell me, and I will absolutely. If I was wrong, I'll tell you. Just tell me what I'm wrong about. The score. Look, mate. Look, if you're right, if that's what you predicted, mate, 100%. I bow down to you. I bow down to you, mate. Look, if that's what you said, which I recall that you probably did, mate, respect. Adallo today for me, 6.5. I think he's a limited player. I don't think you're going to win a Premier League with him in the squad. I would have him as a squad player, but the caveat to that is this: is that he's available. He's been available all season. His performance wasn't awful today. He did a good job in the team. Asking for players who are available. We'll criticise a Luke Shaw for not being available. Adallo is always there. So, I've got this. I'm getting a fondness for him. And he's not a fondness because I think he's because he's a fantastic player. He's one of those players that you get in a team where they're there and they will give you a game. They'll give you a solid game. They won't do anything amazing. But Dallo, look, I absolutely respect Dallo. He turns up. He's that guy that plays. He turns up. Always gives you a 5.5 to 6.5. Solid player. Fantastic. Larmins for me. I've got, I think 7.5. He makes some of his saves for me are the equivalent of a goal. And I think some of the saves today, or that save at point blank range, is basically like a goal. So 7.5 today. I think he's strong. I think he's good in the air. He's confident. I like that a lot. Mohammed says that Liverpool. Slotball says congratulations on the win today. What did he do wrong? I would have him on the bench. I would have him in my bed. Congratulations for the win today. Thanks, buddy. You're a top man. Relax. We're all happy. Arsenal are a massive sculpt for United. Dork Knight, legend. I'm a Liverpool fan and you're a good guy, pal. So well done on today's win. I'm hurting at the minute, but somehow dreaming of Champions League. That's me off to bed. JB, handsome devil. Thanks, buddy. And I'll see you tomorrow. Larman 7.58 says Simon. Kate Cadet says we can't be getting carried away with ourselves. Very early days in the Carrick. I don't trust these players, not by a long shot. And look, and I'm with you, mate. I'm with you. Casemiro today. So it says, do you think Arsenal win the league, and who would you prefer? I mean, it's a slot ball. It's a difficult one for me. It's a bit like saying, would you rather be punched in the face or kicked in the balls? It's either one. Do I want Arsenal to win it? No, because I think some of their fans will be fucking unbearable. Do I want City to win it? No, because it means Pep has won another league title. I'd like Villa to win the league. Must says can we get top four? We can do. But I think that we can do. We can. I just think that we need to. Let's see. And I think that the Cake Cadet is right. I'm still not fooled. I think we need to take each game as it comes, and I think the more games we win, and what I mean by that is like the Fulhams, the Spurs. If we get to West Ham and we've won those games, then I think we definitely are. Casemiro, yeah, look, 6.5. I think today you can overscore the players. You can I think 6.5 to 7 for me. Again, very very limited player. He does really well in that low block. Again, very very composed. When you ask him to do anything more and get back, it's difficult. But look, 6.5. Bruno Fernandes for me today. Look, there are going to be people who are going to go on about Bruno Fernandes like he is the saviour, right? City, fantastic. He got a bunch of time. He wasn't really in the game the first half of the day, but the moment he gets space, the things that he does. Look, I am not Bruno's biggest fan. I'm not. I am not his fan. But look, I respect people that do. I'm not here tonight to give you the ins and outs of why I don't like him, as to why I think Bruno needs to go. But that's for a different show. But today, Fernandes 7.5 for me. I don't think, and Simon says 5.5. Look, I wouldn't disagree with that. I'd give him a 7 today because we won a game. I thought he grew into the game. But again, I'd probably go 6.57 because we've won a game. But was he good today? I don't think he. Bruno Fernandes wasn't the start of the show, and I'll tell you for why I'm liking some of this stuff now, is because even though he's in the 10 position, it's not him that's making it all happen. Cunha, you look at Cunha, Moss. I think Cunha could replace him. I think that Bruno Fernandes, it isn't just about him anymore. Look, Bruno 6.57, Manu steady 6.5. Again 6.5, 6. I don't think he did anything amazingly well. Look, Manu's coming back into the side. Manu's a young lad. He's suddenly gone from not playing to playing this biggest games. I think he's getting better and better and better. I think he's going to be better by the end of the season. He's a player that needs games. 6.5. When you're, Simon says 7. When you're playing in a game like that against those sorts of midfielders, Manu, he's a young lad. 6.57. He's people forget he's so young. He's so young, and the fact he's come into the side in the 2 toughest games this season, I think it's brilliant. Let me get through some chats before we go on the forward player. I look at Aston Villa's fixtures coming up. I think they've got a good chance. We'll get top 4. If Liverpool lose the next game when we beat Fulham, then we'll get top 4. Agreed, got to take game by game. Big Manting says only us. Slotbox says, do you agree that the race for top 4 has been poor this game week? We drew 4 in a row and still top 4. I think this season has been very, very competitive. I think if Liverpool or United were in a different season, I don't think we'd get anywhere near the top 4. We can't have Villa win the league, seeing Sancho with a Premier League medal around his neck. The Cake Cadet, you are spot on. Do you think Palmer will replace Bruno? Look, Moss, I think Moss, if we had a complete side and we're looking for the cherry on the cake, and Bruno was going, yes, but I don't really want to pay £120 million for Palmer when we need like another team. And also, Simon, I'm getting Mason Mount vibes, and that's just me. Bruno has too many holes in his game and no adaptability. I think the way the players show their faces and not being afraid of, I'm giving players the better rating. So let's get on to the forward players. I thought Ahmad today had a reasonably quietish game compared to what he normally does. He's still always an attacking threat. I like Ahmad a lot. I really, really like him. I think he's, he's a dangerous player. No, I'd go 6.5. You could probably argue a 7. I do like him a lot. Yeah, look, Ahmad. Look, you can. It is a difficult one. It is. It is just. I'm just checking. Just checking. Games that we've got. Mbumo today. Mbumo today for me is always a threat, right? I think in terms of signings, I think he's always been. I think he's always been like when you sign players, when you sign players from the Premier League, right? And they are the better players in the Premier League. You look at an Isak, right? And this is not to call out Liverpool fans, right? But when you sign an Isak for all that money and Premier League proven scorer, and you think to yourself, like, he's gonna be the next big thing, and he doesn't. My fear with Mbumo, with Cunha, those two were gonna be flops. Not flops, but they weren't going to be the best players, right? Mbumo and Cunha, I mean, just Cunha's grown into the team, I think. Mbumo for me is just one of them players. He's just a fantastic Premier League player, and I rate him a lot. I would give him to. Did he have the most amazing game ever? No. Right? Did he have a very, very good game? Yes. Is he a problem? Yes. Does he scare the shit out of people? Yes. He's physical. He's quick. He can score. His confidence is up. I rate him a lot. So for me, I think I would give him a 7.5, 7.5, 8 maybe. Maybe 8 is. But look, I think he's such a threat. Dorgu, and I will come through the chats as well. Dorgu. I'm glad one thing that we've said on this channel, not because I ever thought that Dorgu is ever going to be, this fantastic player. I've always said on this channel that I don't like to put players down, right? I think it is ludicrous to me, and to go for slot ball there, and he says Isak. People calling him out on Verts when they've only been at the new clubs, weeks, months. Isak is a different one, right? But look, if Isak comes back, he's going to score goals, right? But when people were calling Dorgu a waste of money, were calling him shit. I've always said he's a young kid, give him time. He's going to come good. Shesko, the same. We call these plays flops. You give him time, right? Dorgu, for me, I'm so happy for Dorgu. I mean, Dorgu is just, I like him. I've liked him in these last 3-4 games where Amrin was starting to transition him to that winger number 10 wide position. I like him. So impressed with him. He's getting better and better and better. Simon, I thought Dorgu today. I'm giving Dorgu a 9 today. The reason I'm giving Dorgu a 9 was the reason I think I gave Ahmad a 9 the other game, is because when you factor in this kid Dorgu, who got signed from a relegation side, come into a toxic club, really, you can argue. Came into an Amarin side. Amarin, Amarin came in, used him as, didn't really know what to do with Dorgu. Dorgu's been absolutely slated all season. And in the last 4 or 5 games, he's shown that it's not a fluke. Then to do what you did today at that age, I can't even tell you. You know when a player is gonna be good, right? Dorgu today, I love it. I love to see these young players to do well. So Dorgu for me, a 9, man of the match all day long. He works so hard. He's tireless. He's quick. I just like him a lot, and he's getting better and better and better. So Dorgu for me, absolute wonderful 9. Spoiler alert, man of the match for me. Let me go through some of the chats, and then I will go through the other players. Lindelof plays for Villa. Would you prefer to see him with a Premier League medal? Yeah, I wouldn't mind him. Mbeumo has been quality. Would be great Salah replacement. Lindelof isn't a knobhead, as Sancho is. Andrew says, do you think United will carry on winning games to the end of the season, my friend? There will be some bumps in the road, Andrew. There will be. I want us to maintain the level, but there will be bumps. There will be. JB says, I think I'm most impressed with Dorgu. I was one of the people who thought he wasn't good enough, but since he's been playing, I'm more attacking football. I think, look, and JB, mate, look, I absolutely respect that comment, mate. I absolutely respect it, because there's not a lot of people, JB, that would come on here and say, look, I said that Dorgu wasn't great. And it can happen. People, look, JB, people are allowed to change their views, mate. And look, I completely respect it, mate. I absolutely respect it completely, and that's okay. People can change their opinion. Dorgu played like a seasoned vet. Slopwell says, Verts was getting ripped to pieces. You got to give him time. Exactly. Today feels amazing. Do you think it's a step backwards being more defensive and compact than relying on counter-attacks? It's got us 2 big wins, but long term, I'm not having it. Yeah, look, I am with you, Cake Cadet. We need to evolve. We need to evolve as a team, Cake Cadet. I agree with you. This is, for me, this is getting us through to the summer. This is getting us European football, because that is what we need. Let's just get it through. Let's just get us through. And then I'm with you. This can't be. Look, we can't be Ollie ball. We can't be Ollie Carrick ball. It doesn't work long term. It doesn't. But I'm strapped in for the ride. Let's get to the end of the season, and let's see. Sam says, we can't always stick to the status quo. I will take each game as it comes. When did you start supporting United? I've been supporting United since 1988, when I was 3 or 4. Cunha. Let's talk about Cunha. Cunha. Look, Cunha. Cunha today. Look. I mean, what can you say? What can you say about? I mean, it's just Cunha today. I mean, what can you say about Cunha? He came on today. He looked like a player with something to prove. I love that. He didn't have a tantrum. He strikes me as the sort of player that doesn't have a tantrum. I mean, he came on the pitch. He scored a goal. I thought it was 7.5 today. You can argue 8 to 9. You could argue a 7.5, an 8, a 9. Again, Cunha. I love the attitude. Logan says, hi, yo, Logan. Logan, hope you're doing extremely well, buddy. Gingerbread, hey, let's go. So Cunha for me today, what an impact. You could go 8, you could go 9, 7.5, just anything. So look, Cunha for me, fantastic goal, fantastic player. I loved it today. And then you had Shesko Mazraoui. Look, Shesko Mazraoui 5-6. You know, look, it doesn't. Are you in Manchester or not? Because it's midnight. No, I am not. I am at home. But look, guys. Yeah, that was the match. Look, wonderful, absolute buzzing tonight. Look, tomorrow is another day. You know, look, let's enjoy it tomorrow. Let's enjoy it. Let's and then we'll start talking about Fulham. You know, look, we then got to have a serious conversation about this side, what we think. I'm probably more nervous for Fulham, to be honest, but we can see where you go. So look, guys, legends of this chat. I can't believe the time has gone on. Look, guys, thank you for the support. For those of you who were here this morning, those of you who were here during the watch along, for those of you who are here tonight, have been with me, Tourist Club. Thank you, Jeffrey. Look, guys, legend. I can only thank you enough. Just absolute. Just backed us to win the league 50-1, 25 for one. Mate, do it. So look, guys, I will be back tomorrow at some point. Thank you for supporting the channel. You guys are legends, and I genuinely can't thank you enough. For those of you who were on stream and have left as well, look, thank you guys so much. So look, I will be back tomorrow. Amazing, we won. What a great day, great match. Have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm JB. This is the United Devil channel, and United. We did it. So look, guys, gotta love it. I will be back tomorrow. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.